Welcome to Tactical Blue. This is your host Hector Solis. I'm glad that you are back. I'm here in Austin, Texas in Camp Mabry. Look at that. Don't mess with Texas. We have big planes, we have big army, we have everything here. Everything is bigger in Texas, right? So today we're gonna talk about case law. Yeah, I know it's boring, but it's good for your report. So let's check it out. So before I go into details, let me ask you a question. Let's say that you are working a special task force, okay? So there are specific areas in town that you want to target because those are high crime areas, either narcotics, burglaries, or whatever, you name it. Then you're driving around, you see a male walking down the street. As soon as he sees you, he takes a look in your eyes and boom, he turns around and runs away. Now let me ask you, are you allowed to stop that person? And if you do, what did he do? He just looked at you. Is that illegal? I don't think so. So think about it. The Supreme Court say, yes, you are allowed to stop that person. However, there are certain considerations that you have to go through it before you do that. So let me explain them. So the case that we're going to talk about today is called Illinois versus Warlow. So this case happened back in 1995 in Chicago, Illinois. And let me give you a little bit of background. So there were 3 patrol cars working in a specific area in town about narcotics, okay? So these narcotics officers were rolling around town looking for crimes happening. So they just happened to be passing this area when Mr. Warlow was walking by. But this is the deal. Mr. Warlow looked at the officer. He knew there were police officers. He immediately turned around and starts running through an alleyway. Now, one of the officers noticed that suspicious behavior, got out of the vehicle, started a foot pursuit, and eventually caught up with Mr. Warlow. During a frisk of the outer garments, and by the way, Mr. Warlow was also carrying a bag with him. So during the frisk of the outer garment, also the bag, which Terry versus Ohio, we can do that out of safety. They discovered that Mr. Warlow had an illegal weapon on him. All right. So the police, of course, arrested Mr. Warlow. Eventually, court, he got convicted, and he was fighting his conviction all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, the Illinois Supreme Court said that no, officers should not do that because the mere suspicion of him just running away is not enough for them to stop him and do a pat down of a Terry frisk. Now, the Supreme Court decided that that is not true. Number one, Mr. Warlow was in a high narcotic area. These officers were working a specific task force, and they saw a specific behavior of him running, and for no reason. I mean, they didn't even contact him. They were just passing by. So that gave the officers enough reasonable suspicion to stop Mr. Warlow to, pat him down. Then they discover, the weapon, which is that's the crime that he was charged with. So now, this is what the Supreme Court say. The Supreme Court said that Mr. Warlow's behavior, it was an indicative of possible crime. Now, again, just because you run away from police doesn't mean that you're guilty, right? However, running away from police for no reason will put you in a reasonable suspicion because that's not normal. Unless that happens in your town where people run away from police no matter what, then it's not normal and it's not going to apply. You need to see what's happening in your town. As police officers, we drive around town. There are certain behaviors that we know are normal and some that are not. But you have to really, really specify that in your report. Again, running away, Mr. Warlow looked at the officer and he started running away. The Supreme Court said they understand that sometimes police might stop people that are innocent, but that is not a Fourth Amendment seizing So the Supreme Court said that it is not a violation of the Fourth Amendment to stop somebody for reasonable suspicion. If you remember in 1960, I believe 68, but in 1960s, Terry versus Ohio, the suspects were not doing anything illegal. They were in front of a store, walking back and forth, looking inside, what is known to be casing a store. Casing a store meaning that you're looking inside to eventually pretty much rob them, okay? Or steal something. So Terry versus Ohio established that reasonable suspicion, you can stop the person, check for weapons for your safety, okay? And this is the same thing with Illinois versus Warlow. There was a suspicious behavior, which is not normal for somebody just to run away. Running away from the police, meaning that you don't want to have contact with them, is not illegal. You can suspend any type of contact with police at any moment. But the Supreme Court understands that the human behavior, which in this case, running away from police, is more mostly indicative of crime, okay? And they actually said that on their conclusion. So remember, if you see somebody running away from you, you have to specify why you stop them, not just because they ran away from me. Was it in the middle of the night? Was it in a high crime area? Were there recent burglaries in the area? Whatever you have to put it on paper. If a prosecutor asks you, why did you stop them? You know you cannot do that. Now you know. Illinois versus Warlow. Read it. I'm gonna post the link to the whole summary so you can read it over. And if you don't want to read it, well, I already told you. So it makes it easy, right? Other things that to consider is that the time of the day, the area, like I mentioned before, whether it's 1, 2, 3 people, whether that is normal in the area. Again, make sure you study case law. This case law is really important. Make sure you check with your prosecutor, because even if it is case law, sometimes they don't take it, and that happens, okay? So please be safe. If you know any other case law that is important for police officers, let me know so I can research it and I can talk about it. If you agree with this case law, comment below. If you don't agree, comment below too, and like this video, share it. I'm trying to spread the word with police officers so we can all learn, all right? And if I say something wrong, well, just comment so you can correct me. Please be safe and watch your six.